Hi everyone! I've always felt that there's a distinct moment in leadership, and if you've led longer for the 10 minutes you'll know exactly what I mean, when the world seems to lean in a bit too close and whisper, "Go on, just compromise a little." It doesn't shout, kind of nudges you, doesn't it? Gently, reasonably even, kind of like a friendly salesperson convincing you that yes, you do need that extended warranty. Just imagine what would happen if you didn't get that extended warranty. And suddenly your values, those things that you swore would guide your decisions, shape your leadership and keep you grounded, well, they start wobbling like a year 3 on stilts. Or even an aging educational consultant like me, also on stilts. Because holding the line sounds noble, doesn't it? Until real life shows up, that's when things can get kind of blurry. So let me tell you about a Tuesday. It's always a Tuesday, isn't it? Okay, sometimes it's a Monday or even a Sunday evening, but you get the picture. Parents rung up with some really strong opinions, as they sometimes do, or a staff member wants a quick decision, as they always do, or a student's eaten something questionable and is now crying in the sick bay, as they definitely do. And somewhere in the middle of the circus, someone asks you to sign off on something that technically makes sense, but sits about as comfortably with your values as wearing a woolen jersey, one of those big colourful ones from the 1980s, on a 32-degree day. You know the feeling, that moment in your gut. That's your values tapping you on the shoulder saying, "Mate, remember me." And if you worked in education for any length of time, you'll know that pressure doesn't always come with flashing lights and sirens. Sometimes it's disguised as urgency or best practice or political messaging or community expectations or that good old-fashioned fear of rocking the boat in the name of, "It's what we've always done around here. It's who we are." The thing is, leadership without values is decision-making without direction. You end up reacting instead of leading, or pleasing instead of guiding, or surviving instead of strengthening. So I feel like right here, right now, I've got to remind you that your values aren't decorations on your leadership wall. They're the handrails that stop you from face-planting on the stairs. And I've got to be honest, there are plenty of times when I ignored my gut. Once I went along with a decision that made perfect World 1 sense. Check out my video about the 2 worlds of decision making. That'll help you understand that part. The numbers, the data, and the efficiency, all very shiny, yes they were, but they clashed completely with the culture we'd been working so hard to build. I justified it, I rationalized it, I even made a big PowerPoint presentation about it. 3 months later I realized I'd caused more harm than help, and when I finally corrected course, the culture repaired quite quickly, not because I'd made the right call, but because I'd realigned with my values. Staff can smell integrity the way kids can smell biscuits from 200 meters away. Right now in education, holding the line is harder than ever. It's not so much a nudge to compromise, but an almighty shove. We're operating in a political climate where everything's loud, everything's urgent, and everything's contested. There's some unexpected challenges being made from high above, and let's face it, they're not great. Leaders like you are expected to be brave, neutral, strategic, inspiring, compliant, and psychic, usually all before morning tea. So how do you stay true to your values when the world around you feels like a moving target and you're being shoved from pillar to post? I've always said that you don't need grand gestures, you just need tiny acts of alignment, repeated, relentlessly. And it's here that I'm reminded of Viktor Frankl's awesome quote. He said, "Between stimulus and response, there's a space. And in that space is our power to choose our response. And in our response lies our growth and our freedom." I really like this. I like this a lot. As leaders, we find ourselves bombarded by stimuli all the time. Much of it can be great, but a lot, as I mentioned before, not so. So I love this idea that before we even respond, that there is a space, and that as leaders we have all the power in the world to work with that space, to play in that space before we respond. That's powerful, powerful stuff. It's in the space where we decide whether to hold the line and how to hold the line. And so let's think about this. You hold the line by pausing before reacting, by choosing integrity over popularity, by asking, what story does this decision tell about who we are? By remembering that values, whispered quietly, actually beat pressure, shouted loudly. And by trusting that consistency builds culture, not chaos. I reckon holding the line is never about being stubborn, it's about being anchored. You're not resisting others, you're actually respecting yourself. I guess the quiet truth is the world will tell you to bend, but it's your values that will tell you where you stand. And of course, standing, especially now, takes courage. Not the Hollywood kind with swelling music and slow motion hero shots, but the real kind, the everyday courage to stay aligned when everything around you feels misaligned. The courage to say, hey, this is who we are, or hey, this is what matters, and hey, this is the line and I'm holding it, and hey, stop shoving. I guess the beautiful bit is that when leaders hold their line, others find theirs as well. Your clarity becomes their safety. Your values become their compass. Your steadiness becomes their calm. So yep, hold that line, even when it wobbles, even when you wobble, especially then. And remember, values aren't tested on these easy days. They're proven on the messy ones. And you, my fellow human, have more strength in your spine than you give yourself credit for. Now, if you've enjoyed this video, then you'll undoubtedly enjoy reading my book. Am I Having Fun is stacked full of great leadership ideas to help free up your thinking time so that you can enjoy your job a lot more. Go get your copy now.